Hello, and thank you for taking the time to watch this short video. The topic I'd like to discuss today is how we as the adults in school work together to keep ourselves safe during the current difficult time. In the past, I might have used the phrase care enough to challenge enough to think about the quality of the education we provide, but today I want to use the same phrase to think about how we as the adults need to care about each other enough to remind and encourage each other to follow the right rules and routines around being COVID safe in school. Discussed this with your principals last week, and we thought it might be a good idea for me to produce a short video and also a letter to come out to everybody, just with a few reminders so that we can all try and do our best to help each other. I'm going to share my screen in a second and talk through some of the key points in the letter, just so that when it does arrive in school, you have already got something perhaps in the back of your mind about how important it is that we continue to help each other to do these things. Okay, firstly, I'd just like to say how fantastic the effort has been from staff across our schools this year. Your commitment really has been impressive, and I want to thank you deeply for everything that you've done so far, and no doubt are going to have to continue to do for several more months until we manage to come out of this current crisis. And it's so important that we are doing this. For many children in our schools, being in school and continuing to learn is the best way we can protect their future. But of course, helping them to close the gaps, to focus on the next steps in their education and to have something to look forward to is only possible if we are able to continue to operate. And the COVID guidance that's been put in place is there to protect us all. To refocus us a little on some of the things that we should be thinking about to make sure that each day is as safe as possible, I'd just like to touch in the rest of this letter on some key points that your principals felt would be worth reiterating. Okay, first of all, looking after yourself. Hopefully everybody has their own network of friends and informal support in school, but it is important that you do make time to talk to your line manager if there is anything that's worrying you. That way we can think about how as an employer we can help. Do also please remember we have access to a range of services for individuals to access confidentially through our Health Assured programme, and the address for that set of services is included in the link on this letter. We know things are tough at the moment, and if there's anything else we could be doing to help that we're not doing already, we'd like to know. So a new wellbeing feedback form will be sent out to you shortly and invite you to share any ideas you may have. And who knows, they may be ones that are specific to your department, your team, your school, or something that the trust as a whole could take on board. And we look forward to any ideas you have that we might be able to explore. In terms of self-isolation, it's just really a reminder that for those of us who are unlucky enough to have to self-isolate and are not actually ill, we all can still do our bit. So please do discuss with your school exactly what the arrangements would be if you are due to be at home for a period of time. Probably the more tricky set of things to discuss is meetings and visitors to school. Wherever possible, please try and hold meetings with those outside of your bubble online. That way, we really can try and minimise the number of close contact cases that are raised whenever a COVID instance occurs in one of our schools. It's up to your school itself to dictate which meetings can absolutely be held face to face, but whatever those actually are, the meetings should only happen with absolute rigour around social distancing and COVID safe hygiene measures being in place. It's understandable that we will still need to have external visitors into schools, and that's okay, providing all the necessary precautions are taken. Some of those visitors are vital to the running of our schools. Some of our Trust Central team colleagues, for example, who support with the state, who deliver PPE to schools, who help with finance. However, there are also other groups, peripatetic teachers, particular special needs professionals, as another example, and of course any staff who work across and between our schools. As long as the rules around hygiene are followed, that is fine. When we have meetings, whether that's with internal or external colleagues, we really do need to stick to the rules around social distancing. And in order to ensure we can do that, I'm asking all schools to make sure that rooms show maximum adult occupancy numbers, including for meeting rooms and offices. Wherever possible, and I know you've heard this many times before, but wherever possible, we should try and keep movement to a minimum and stay within our bubbles. But of course, that isn't easy for many roles in secondary school. So it's so important we adhere to the sanitising regime when moving from one zone to another or between bubbles. On ventilation, where classrooms have manual windows, then we need to keep some windows ajar throughout the day and open them fully for a few minutes 3 times a day to get a full refresh of air. Of course, if this means the rooms are going to be slightly chilly, then it's entirely appropriate for students as well as adults to keep on appropriate outerwear until the room warms up. In schools where we don't have manual windows, then we have air handling systems that are being set to refresh rather than recycle, so there should be a purging of the air in those rooms too. Finally, just to reiterate what I said at the start of this presentation, I feel a little guilty reminding everybody about these things because I'm worried you might also feel it's a criticism. It absolutely is not. You're doing a fantastic job, and the whole point of this is that for us to get to the other side in the best shape possible, we all need to be ultra vigilant at all times. Thank you for taking the time to listen. My very best wishes to you and your family, and please do stay safe.